Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I have the last bit of Ascendance DLC gameplay for you. This is the map Chop Shop. I'm playing on Uplink right now in normal mode. We're not doing grapple just yet, but there will be some of that. Playing kind of like an all-YouTuber 4v4 Uplink. It was really fun because you've basically got a competitive rule set, but everybody's goofing around and quickscoping and using goofy guns and just we're trying to get feeds and stuff. Really fun gameplay. I will be showing this off with Exo Grapple as well, though not quite as much because this was the first map we played Exo Grapple on, and none of us were good at Exo Grapple, so the gameplay isn't like super amazing, and we spent most of the time just running around the corridors trying to grapple each other, it was hilarious for me. Probably not the most fun to watch for you guys. It's going to be a much more casual sort of map walkthrough this time than the other ones because I'm very tired right now, and you've probably already noticed in the previous videos that my voice has been somewhat hoarse, and there's a reason for that. The reason is last night started off a little something like this. And it continued for quite some time until morning, and when the sunlight finally broke, it was more like, oh god, the sun, the pain, I fully understand vampires now. So, I am sort of in a CoD Champs recovery, but I do like coming out to events like this. It's really fun. A lot of times when the YouTubers come out, they like to celebrate, because these are people that I talk to on a daily basis. There are people, I would say, internet friends that I have through Skype, through Twitter, that we game together. People that I literally never see in person, except for maybe 1 or 2 events per year, sometimes less than that. Sometimes you only see these guys once a year. So we all have a good time. And if you want to know like what it's like at CoD Champs, it's actually a very relaxed attitude. Like, actually, almost all of the developers come. They're there in force, not only just from Sledgehammer, but, you know, Infinity Ward was there, Treyarch was there, Yvonne showed up, of course, you probably saw that. That was the #1 thing on Reddit. And they're all sitting there in the stands, interacting with the fans, talking with people. Like, if you've wanted to talk to the dev about this or that, it's pretty open. You can go up and talk. A lot of people are kind of reserved because they just assume that they don't want to be hassled. And again, some don't. It's not like there's a giant line. But most of the time, they're very friendly to open and talking about the game, good and bad, problems, bugs, whatever. They're like, okay, I didn't know about this, I didn't know, you know, we'll work on this kind of thing, or, you know, that's already in progress, blah blah blah, or suggestions or whatever. Pro players are a little bit more reserved. They do go out, they definitely do go out and meet and greet fans, talk. Again, it's very casual. It's not like a super serious thing with security. You just walk up and say hello. Very kind of open environment. But they don't hang out quite as much because they have to go practice. They have to stay focused. They just can't go out and goof around like the rest of us do. They're not there to watch. They're there to play, so they're off in a very different sort of zone. The CoD Champs is really cool this year. There were a lot of fans. The last 2 years, it's been a private event. The first year, it was a completely private event, which was really weird because it was only press, and press don't really cheer. The second year they did it, I think they opened it up to like 100 members of the public on Sunday, which wasn't really that bumping. But this year they did, I think, 1,000 or maybe 1,200 public tickets. They wanted to do more, but the venue that the CoD Champs is in has very strict rules about how many people they allow in for fire safety hazards. So they pretty much pack out the legal limit on the venue, and I assume that during championships they might stretch that a little bit because there's pretty much only crowding room around the stage. But yeah, everybody's actually really friendly. That's just kind of one of the misconceptions that I wanted to talk about YouTubers. Now, of course, people that you're a fan of, if you're a fan of somebody, you like them. You just assume that they're a good person, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times on YouTube, it's like, I really like X commentator, and I really hate Y commentator. I love X pro player, and I hate Y pro player, because he's a dick. He's just a whole bag of dicks. Or, you know, she's an e-girl or whatever. Not really like that. Pretty much everybody's friendly. Even the people that you don't think would get along seem to get along more or less fine. I mean, and again, it is a public-facing event. I watch a lot. I pay careful attention. Nobody's a douche to fans. Even people, some of them, you know, more popular guys, sometimes there'll be a line of like 20 or 30 people, and I'm not going to name names here because I know different people don't like stories, but I know one commentator, fairly well-known fellow, had to use the bathroom pretty bad, just like holding it, and there's like a line of like 20 fans wanting to take selfies, wanting to take, you know, little pictures, sign this, sign that. The guy's like, I can hold this, I can do this, I will be nice to my fans, and I will hold until the end of time or until this line clears out. And he was there for, you know, like 30, 45 minutes, which again seems kind of like nothing, but not every celebrity would do that. Not a celebrity, e-celebrity. Very casual here. So I had a great time, celebrated, a lot of catching up with different people on different things. Let's talk about the map Chop Shop. We're getting completely out of order here, but let's talk about the map Chop Shop now that I've blabbed forever about that. This is sort of a exosuit chop shop, for lack of a better word. It's sort of an unscrupulous garage where they take stolen exos and repurpose them, refashion them, resell them, build slightly less than legal and definitely not to code things. The aesthetics are that of an exo chop shop, but honestly it's a very it almost has this sort of generic building sort of thing, with the exception of a couple of the garage areas. It just feels very urban and heavy. It reminds me a little bit of the previous map, Urban, and it plays very similar. It's all like 90-degree angles. It's very linear pathways, square buildings, not super high ceilings. I mean, you can jump, but there's nowhere really high to jump to. It's not an open air map. It's a very clustery kind of indoor map. Definitely very SMG dominant. SMGs are absolutely the way to go on this map, and if you want to play well, again, highly recommend SMGs. Assault rifles, kinda. Sniper rifles, all that other sort of stuff, not so much. Grenades are big, and I feel that it plays better in vanilla mode than it does in Exo Grapple mode. And I've said this a couple of times, but the Exo Grapple mode, you need a lot of open spaces, and I can kind of do it inside some of the buildings and in a couple of areas, but this map doesn't have the right kind of open spaces, because most of the entryways that you need to go in are rectangular. They're like doors. You have to go in the door, right? But with Exo Grapple, when you pull yourself, instead of pulling yourself through the door like you want to, I know you're going to want to dash through the door, you're really going to pull to the door, and you're going to kind of shimmy up the ledge. What's it called? Mantle up the ledge. That's the word I was looking for. So it's kind of a disjointed thing when you do Exo Grapple. Yeah, you can still do it. You can still snap people around and kind of fly a bit, but this really isn't the map for that. Climate and Site 244 play much better on Exo Grapple than this one does. This one is one of the better playing maps on vanilla, if not the best vanilla map. This works real. I think this could be a competitive map. Maybe, you know, I'm not a pro player. That's not my thing. I don't do that. But this one has all the right attributes. It's got lanes. It's got sensible places to put objectives. It's not a overly complex, ornate, weird-looking map. I don't see why you couldn't do this, because it plays like a lot of the rectangular maps from previous Call of Duty games and is relatively straightforward. Actually plays pretty well for uplink. I was pretty happy with that. Like, there's a lot of little sneaky paths that you can go through, but not so many that it'll end up kind of like Ascend CTF, where there were just you had to gamble. Like, you can cut people off on this map based on information. XMG's probably not going to be the most brilliant of ideas here, but hey, it's fun. We like to have fun when we play. Going to go a little bit off topic again. One of my favorite moments from CoD Champs was actually a nade shot moment. For those of you that don't know, CoD Champs is sponsored by Microsoft, or more specifically by Xbox. So everything, we all play on Xbox. Everybody plays on Xboxes. It's there's like a lot of Microsoft themed gear or whatever. There's some Xbox branding. It's streamed on MLG TV, pushed through the Xbox dashboard. It's, you know, because Activision and Call of Duty branch of Activision partnered with Microsoft for Call of Duty. That's their thing. It's been that way for a long time, and this is not any sort of weird intel or anything. I'm literally just speculating at this point. I assume it comes with clauses where you're not like supposed to bash Xbox or bash any of the sponsors, of course, which is one of them is Xbox. So during one of the first matches of the entire tournament, Nadeshot's Xbox freezes and he can't play. The team, it's only for a little bit, he comes back in, and the team wins anyway. They won without Nadeshot, and they do this post-game interview, and it's like, yeah, what were you thinking, what were you playing, blah, blah, how's it going, Nate? I think it might have been, I can't remember if it was Maven or Justine, and Nate was like, yeah, I was doing pretty good until my Xbox froze, and then everybody, you know, all the gamers and stuff in the audience just sit there and chuckle because the event's sponsored by Xbox, and Nate, who is, you know, too popular or famous or whatever to really give a damn about that stuff, is like, yeah, my Xbox froze, just totally froze. He said it like a couple of times, and I was sitting there just, we were all busting out laughing. Just one of my personal moments. Maybe it's kind of more of an inside joke thing than the rest of you. Also saw some really good plays by John. John was tearing it up. Man, that was some good stuff. Guys, that's more or less all for this video. I hope you enjoy the gameplay. I kind of start playing more seriously here with the S12, which, by the way, is a much better shotgun after the buff. You can really, really wreck and shrek some people with this gun. This map, I like in vanilla. I don't like it as much in Exo Grapple. Ultimately, it was probably my least favorite map, not because it was bad. Not like this is a garbage map and that I just hate it or whatever. It was just kind of vanilla. It was just kind of, you know, we've had a lot of square maps. This wasn't the most mind-blowing thing or something weird like Perplex or whatever. This one was just a straight-up normal addition to the map, kind of like Urban was the very normal map in the last DLC pack. This one is just very, very normal, and it makes sense. I'm kind of getting near the end of the commentary, so I'm actually going to kick it over to the raw gameplay and let you watch the last little bit of this video in peace. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.
The enemy has the satellite. Well done, Sentinel.